The atom is the smallest unit into which matter can be divided and still retain the characteristic properties of an element. Atoms join together to form molecules. These molecules make up our food. Let's start by looking at the history of the atom. The concept of the atom dates back to around 400 BCE. Democritus was the first person to pose the idea that matter was not infinitely divisible. In other words, Democritus posited that matter could not always be broken down into smaller parts. At some level, matter was indivisible. Democritus called this matter that could no longer be divided atomos. This is where we get the word atom. Democritus could not test his ideas due to the lack of technology at the time. Between this and Aristotle's rejection of the concept of atoms due to the fact that they did not align with his views on nature, and other criticisms, the idea of the existence of atoms would go unnoticed for a couple thousand years. The next scientist to put forward a model of the atom was John Dalton. Dalton put forth his theory in 1803. Dalton's model is known as the billiard ball model. Dalton used the advancements in science and technology to perform experiments. His work is known as Dalton's atomic theory. The components of Dalton's atomic theory are: matter is composed of extremely small particles called atoms. Atoms are invisible and indestructible. Atoms of a given element are identical in size, mass, and chemical properties. Different atoms combine in simple whole number ratios to form compounds. In a chemical reaction, atoms are separated, combined, or rearranged. In 1904, J.J. Thompson published his atomic model. Thompson's experiments proved that atoms were divisible and were composed of subatomic particles. Thompson's model stated that there were negatively charged particles floating around in a positively charged fluid. Together, these made up an atom. Thompson posited that oppositely charged electric forces held the atom together. Thompson's model is known as the plum pudding model or the blueberry muffin model. The next model of the atom was introduced by Lord Ernest Rutherford in 1911. This is the model that many people are familiar with. Rutherford's model is referred to as the planetary model of the atom. Rutherford believed that there was a dense, positively charged nucleus surrounded by orbiting subatomic particles with a negative charge called electrons. Bohr published a model of an atom that expanded on Rutherford's ideas in 1913. Bohr's model had a positively charged nucleus. In Bohr's model, electrons orbit the nucleus in different energy shells. The more energy in the electron, the further the shell is from the nucleus. The modern model of the atom was developed by Erwin Schrödinger and James Chadwick in 1926 and 1932, respectively. Schrödinger and Chadwick pushed Bohr's model one step further. Schrödinger determined that electrons don't move in a set path. They likely move in waves. Schrödinger proposed that orbitals can be described as electron clouds. The clouds are the space that the electrons are most likely to be at a given time. Chadwick discovered the neutron. Chadwick explained that there are neutrally charged particles that are located in the nucleus of the atom. Using the various models that were presented throughout history, let's look at what we know about the structure of the atom. There is a dense center in the middle of the atom known as the nucleus. The nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged. Neutrons are neutral. They have a net charge of 0. Electrons are found in orbitals around the nucleus of the atom. Electrons have a negative charge. Electrons are about 1,840 times smaller than protons and neutrons. Even though they are much smaller, electrons have the same amount of negative charge as protons have of positive charge. Let's summarize what we learned. The idea of atoms has been around from the times of Democritus in 460 BCE. There were many different models of the atom as scientists experimented using different techniques. Based on the most modern model of the atom, we know that atoms have 3 subatomic particles. Protons are positively charged and found in the nucleus. Neutrons have no charge and are found in the nucleus. Electrons are negatively charged and are found in orbitals surrounding the nucleus of the atom.